Hello, and welcome to episode 212 of Film Night. My name's Richie,
My name's Jack.
My name's Henry.
And my name's Joe.
and in today's episode, we're talking about LIFF 2023. That's Leeds International Film Festival 2023.
Yeah. I don't
How's
think you
everyone
needed
doing?
to clarify what it stood for, Richie.
No.
Everyone knows what LIFF is.
No, but for these
Yes.
official things, it's nice to always give the full
True.
rather than just the acronym. I feel.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, obviously unneeded. Everyone knows what it stands for. But yeah, how's everyone doing?
Really well.
Really good, thank
Oh,
you.
all answered at once. Good.
Yeah. It was excellent to have another LIFF little trip, wasn't it? Now an annual thing for us, and it's always great fun. And this year was no different.
No,
I agree.
It was great fun. Jam-packed, wasn't it? Very
Very
jam-packed.
jam-packed.
Yeah, 2 films a day.
Yeah.
He made it sound not very jam-packed by describing it like that.
I know that sounds
yes.
like it. Well, on top of all the other stuff we did, but it was
yeah.
there was
it was
other
nice.
stuff.
It was nice, wasn't it? Because last year, Richie and I saw one on the first day, and then you, Pep and Woody, you two arrived like later on, didn't you? So we only saw one film last year as a foursome.
Yes, we managed to double our watches. Although one of them technically wasn't actually part of the festival.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, boys, you've done well. I mean, getting me to watch a film a week is quite difficult. So to watch
That's
4
true.
in 2 days, that's an accomplishment.
That's true, and some stuff quite outside your wheelhouse, if you don't mind me saying, Pepster, I think as well.
Yeah, quite. I mean, we'll come on to that in a little bit.
Yeah, I think we will. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I
no,
think
it's great fun.
a nice variety as well, I'd say. Very different films.
Very different. Very different. Yeah.
Which is always great, isn't it? And what I love about LIFF is you never know what you're going to get, because obviously it's on for like 2 weeks, I think, isn't it? But obviously we can only go to, a couple of days, so we have a limited amount of options in terms of what's on for the days that we're going to be in Leeds, and it's always quite fun not really knowing what to expect. Like some years we have absolute belters, other years we might have a slightly less good year, and I actually think that's one of the best things about it is you just don't know what you're going to get.
How do you feel about this year? Was this year a good year or a poor year for you? Before we get into it all,
it was a good year. We've had stronger years, but it was, I'd say it was definitely better than last year. I'd say. I mean, we only saw two films last year, but
I would definitely agree with that. Yeah, that was a bit unfair on last year, but
it's a bit unfair, yeah. But no, it was a really good year. Yeah,
good stuff.
No, I don't want us to get one of the films. I mean, like how are we going with this? Are we saying all 4 films were part of the festival, or are we saying
just saying on average it was a good year?
Yeah.
On average, okay.
Because we can't credit LIFF with one of them, but we'll get onto that. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's
what I mean. That's what I mean.
Sorry.
Yeah. So
keep forgetting that. Because obviously it is something that is not quite mainstream, so it makes us think that it is one of the LIFF things.
I mean, I've watched it in the same cinema, so
yes,
we're going to LIFF. So
true. Very true. But before we properly get into the LIFF stuff, unless anyone has anything else they'd like to bring up, I just wanted to. Oh, yeah, okay. I just wanted to bring up the very newly released Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Something that I had a bit of an interest in since I found out that it was happening. And I think we've briefly talked about it, and so I think we all might have had like vague interest, but maybe not huge interest in it.
Yeah, it looked pretty good from the trailer, but the only thing that sort of
I don't agree with that. I think it looked terrible from the trailer.
Okay, no, yeah. Well, I just meant that like the animation style and stuff looked cool, but the point I think we all came away from watching it thinking like, well, what's the point of it? Because it's the same actors voicing the same characters, and it doesn't seem to be taking it in a different like direction. It's the same story as far as I'm aware. So I was just wondering, like, why? Like, is it bringing anything new to the table?
Okay, well, I have now watched it, most of it. I've still got the last episode to watch. Didn't quite manage to get it all in before recording, but yeah, I don't know how much to say because I don't know if are any of you three bothered about spoilers for this show.
No, I'm not going to watch it. No.
No. Okay. Anyone else?
No, I'm not bothered.
No, I'm not bothered.
Okay, well, anyone that is bothered about spoilers, then just skip ahead of this because I'm about to discuss them on here. But yes, I have watched Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and it sucks.
Oh.
Yeah, it does bring something new to the table. It is different to the film. It sort of pretends it's not for the first episode, and the first episode is pretty much everything that happens at the beginning of the film. And then there's a big twist, which sort of takes it in a different direction. And the twist is that in the first fight with the first Evil X, Scott Pilgrim dies.
Wow.
Oh.
Right.
That's a bold move.
It is a
In
bold
the first
move.
episode?
Yep, end of the first episode. It's like
So
the
he's
cliffhanger.
gone?
Well, no.
Right.
But for most of the series, yes, he's gone. So it's not really focused on Scott himself. It's more focused on Ramona for the most of the series. Ramona trying to find out what happened to Scott because she doesn't believe that he died. And it turns out she's right. He didn't die. And so when this whole thing happens, when he dies, it's kind of annoying because none of his friends or his sister really seems to react in any kind of emotional way. They all just don't really care. And that's kind of played off for laughs, but it's just kind of weird. And it's not very funny. The whole show isn't funny at all. And the voice acting is terrible.
Wow. That surprises me a bit.
So basically, really, what this program should be called is Ramona Flowers Takes Off, featuring Scott Pilgrim in episode 1.
Well, I mean,
Basically.
not really, I suppose, because it's called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off because he takes off, doesn't he? He's not in it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that's sort of what I interpreted it as. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off because he disappears.
Well, at least it tried to, I wouldn't expect that to happen in the first episode, and at least maybe there's some credit for at least trying to do something different. Obviously, it didn't work, but
I'll give it that credit, and I sort of appreciate what they're doing with. I guess, well, I suppose it's quite brave, like marketing it as like the exact same thing as the film, and turning people off that have seen the film, I suppose.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't that bothered.
Yeah, and then it being a completely different story, sort of. But anyway, yeah, in general, it just wasn't funny. Voice acting was terrible. The story was boring. We're just for most of the series, we're just following Ramona, just sort of going and talking to all her exes and sort of trying to figure out what happened to Scott. And then in the episode I've just watched, Scott turns up again, and just explains to her what happened.
God.
So sort of makes the all this like mystery and like her trying to figure shit out of the last few episodes just completely pointless.
Disappointment then.
Very disappointing.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just explains it, and it's just an absolute mess of incoherent nonsense.
Was Edgar Wright
like,
involved at all?
Time travel and Edgar Wright's involved heavily, I think.
Oh. Why did he agree to this?
I think he wanted to do it. I don't know. But yeah, it's been quite a frustrating and boring watch to the whole thing, and the explanation wasn't satisfying, and it was just a load of rubbish. Yeah. And now it's just sort of gone back to, okay, well, now that I'm back here, I guess I'll just go and defeat your 8 evil exes again. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I can't say I'm massively surprised, but yeah, it's disappointing to hear. Is it? It's not going to take away from the film. I'll always love that film, and I'll always watch it from time to time. But yeah, bit of a shame just to kind of.
I'm back. With poor quality.
Take away from, if you're going to use that title, Scott Pilgrim, it's kind of a shame to make something that's shit. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, he's gone again.
No, it's just me messing with it. Sorry.
Okay.
I can come back.
This actually got 4.2 average rating on Letterboxd at the moment, and the actual film has a 3.9. So according to Letterboxd, this is better than the film.
Right, I'm deleting Letterboxd.
Yeah, to be fair though, this is obviously released like last week, so as time goes on, I think those numbers will dwindle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So just wanted to give my thoughts on that while it's still fresh, and just say that I don't recommend it. Not really worth watching.
Thank you.
Okay.
Even the animation isn't really that good. It's not very good. It's the whole thing is so low energy, which is
how long is
a depressing thing to say about an Edgar Wright project. Sorry.
How long is each episode?
Like 20 minutes, so it's not a huge investment.
Okay.
But
okay.
Yeah.
Disappointing to hear it, but thank you for reporting back and doing us all a favor.
No problem. Yeah. Okay. Are we ready to get into LIFF talk then?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, the first thing we went to see at LIFF was a film called I Used to Be Funny. This is directed by Ali Panku. Does anyone know how to pronounce that name?
No idea.
Ali Panku.
IW. You don't often see IW.
No. Canadian. And it stars Rachel Sennett, Olga Petzer, Jason Jones, Sabrina Jalise, and Caleb Heron. The synopsis is: Sam is a young stand-up comedian and au pair struggling with PTSD, who is weighing whether or not to join the search for Brooke, a missing girl she used to nanny. What did you three think of I Used to Be Funny? Don't all
go first. I'll go first. I thought it was a great film. I really, really enjoyed it. From start to finish, I thought it was, and this was, bearing in mind, this was the first film that we saw. And it just captured you constantly sort of kept attention all the way through the film. I don't think there was really any bits that it sort of lulled from start to finish. Maybe towards the end, I think I was ready for it to wrap up or get a little bit of progression. But other than that, start to finish, I thought Rachel Sennett was absolutely fantastic in the role. And yeah, relatively strong cast in general, I think. And yeah, really, really enjoyed it.
I agree.
Cool.
I mean, I don't think I was quite as hot on it as you guys were, particularly when we left the cinema and instant reaction.
Yeah, I'd say you were quite a bit more damp on it. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I think it was the best. Actually, I don't want to say that. It's a bit of a spoiler. I've already said it now. It was a great central performance. I agree with that. I think Rachel Sennett is absolutely an actor to keep an eye on. And, we granted haven't seen her in much. I've only seen her in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. And we all agreed that she was probably the standout in that film. Very, very funny, great comedic timing. Kind of just, dominated any scene that she was in that film. Clearly a very different role here, much more dramatic. Was some comedy in there, but it was clearly a much sort of Actually, I was going to say it's much darker, but Bodies is quite dark. But she nailed it. She really did. She carried the film. She was in pretty much every scene. You know, a lot of pressure to carry a film like that. Obviously, a low budget film.
Yeah, but what did you think of the film? Not you know, you're
right.
talking a lot about Rachel Sennett.
Yes, because I want to give her the credit that she's due.
Okay.
But the film itself, I did enjoy. I thought it was a little bit clunky at times. Like it did a lot of jumping around a bit in time. And I think if you're going to do that, you have to execute it pretty seamlessly. And not saying that's easy to do, but I just felt there were times in this film where it wasn't as smooth as it could have been as it was jumping around. A little bit messy, I thought.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't say that I agree with that point. Firstly, I don't think it was like that much of a problem for me in terms of how smooth it was. I think you had to pay attention, sure, but I don't think it was that unclear when it was like a flash was not. And also, I liked that it wasn't like extremely obvious when it was and when it wasn't. I like that you had to sort of
that's fair.
Think about that for a second sometimes, and that you know, yeah, that wasn't always just like completely like thrown in your face how obvious it was, if you know what I mean.
That's a good point, to be fair, because I guess it kind of added a bit to the, you know, what happened to Brooke kind of thing. It kind of adds to that mystery slightly. So yeah, I do take that point. I think, yes, on the whole, the acting from everyone was very good. I really enjoyed the performance of, I want to get his name up, Caleb Heron. I thought he was a very funny guy. Pretty much laughed in every scene that he was in. Great charisma. But then towards the end, I thought there was a few iffy sections of, you know, particularly from the young actress that played Brooke. She had a big emotional scene
that I do agree with. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, yeah, she had a big emotional scene, and it just didn't quite land. And there was also it was a very small role, so it's not a big issue. But there was a part, the young lad that played her kind of drug dealer. Again, he had a scene towards the end in the house that Brooke was living in, and he just was pretty terrible. But no, on the whole, yeah, good performances, and I did enjoy it. Yeah, it was a good low budget film, and it was great to see Rachel Sennett just do great, because I was hoping that she would. She's in another film called Bottoms that's out now, I think, and that's one that I want to see. And yeah, I enjoyed it.
Cool. Woody, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely more on the pep side. I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, performance was fantastic, but I thought the film itself was really engaging. Kind of captivated me with the story. Never knew where it was going to go next. And I was really, really into it throughout. Definitely do agree that it had it had a bit of a problem ending. Could have wrapped up a bit more smoother than it did.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, the way we did it, once you get your head around the different timelines and different stories being told, really had me invested fully. And it's a kind of film that we go to these kind of things for, because you come out of it, you know, you're not going to see that in Odeon or whatever. It's not going to get a big release, like Jack said. It's a small indie thing, and it's just really well done. And yeah, it was a great start to the festival. I thought I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think I was well, if we base it on the ratings that we gave that we gave it as we came out of it, then I think Joe and I were pretty much in agreement of it being like a 3.5. I don't know if you still feel that way, Joe, or not.
I mean, I've rated it on Letterboxd at 4.
Oh, did you? Okay, I didn't even see that.
This is a problem with LIFF scorecards. Come on, we got to call them out on this.
Well, four's available.
No,
Yeah, you
four's
can do-
available, but they haven't. You can't do halves.
Can't do halves, no.
Can't do halves. No, I think I'd go more the 4 than the 3.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, really, when I was scoring it, because did I do down the middle? I can't remember what I'd scored on that scorecard. If I'm
I think
honest,
you went 4.
Did you
I
break
go
the
4.
rules?
Yeah, ripped it up. No, yeah, I stand by that. I think, yeah.
Okay,
I reckon it's
I'm a bit lower
4 out
than
of
you
5.
then, because I'd still say I'm 3.5 on it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very well written, and very very good sort of drama and comedy to it, with some of the characters. Yeah, some of the acting was a bit iffy. Jack's already mentioned the young lass and the young lad. I also wasn't a huge fan of the main kind of man, the big man on campus, the
Oh, you were not.
policeman.
Okay.
No, I didn't think I thought he was a bit iffy. Some scenes he was better than others. Certainly his big scene I don't think was very good. If you know what I mean by that.
I've forgotten actually.
His big intimidation scene, maybe. Can't really put it any clearer than that without outright saying it. The rape scene.
Oh yeah.
Fucking
Oh,
hell.
sorry. I thought you were talking about the comedic guy, the large man.
No. Oh, yeah. I suppose that was confusing when I said big man on campus.
Okay, you meant the policeman. Yeah.
Yeah, policeman. Sorry, you have to bleep some of that out.
Okay, yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Anyway, yeah. So I thought he was a bit iffy, especially in that scene. But not overall, not in any way that it was too distracting. But yeah, I agree with you in some parts, Jack. That just sort of some parts of it that I don't know. Don't know if clunky is the right word. I don't think I'd say clunky, but it was quite heavy-handed as a film, which obviously is kind of at risk of always when it's doing this kind of subject. But yeah, I think a little bit heavy-handed is what I would say. But in general, I did enjoy it, and I did enjoy Rachel Sennett. And yeah, she really carried the whole thing, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, good film. Would watch again.
Yeah, it got us off to a pretty good start, didn't it? And we were straight in there. Like it was only like an hour after we arrived. We were in that cinema, and
yeah,
I'd say it was a strong start.
I suppose one thing I would say about it is that I feel like it did a good job of hinting at things that were happening as it was going along, and then it just sort of didn't really commit to that, and it just outright showed everything that happened. You know, in those flashbacks, it was sort of getting clearer and clearer what had happened, to the point that it was extremely obvious. So I was sort of thinking, oh, this will be cool if it's just, you know, showing us these sort of hints at what happened, rather than outright showing it. But then it did just sort of show it, and I felt that was a bit unnecessary. I don't know if anyone else agrees with that.
Yeah, probably. I think that's fair. I think it didn't need to be quite as explicit with it as it was.
Yeah, they could have worked it a different way, couldn't they? Like you say, they gave.
Well, I think they did. I think they did work it a different way, and then they just sort of showed it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't have to finish it off like they did, I suppose.
Yeah, like I think we all know what happened, knew what happened before it actually happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I have to say on that one. Does anyone have any more they want to say on I Used to Be Funny?
I don't think so.
Not really. My memory's not great, to be honest. It was a few days ago now, wasn't it? Yes. I can't remember any more.
It was exactly a week ago.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, no. Good start to the festival.
Good start to the festival, yeah. It was a good time.
It was directed. Yeah, definitely keep an eye out on this director.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely talented.
Mm.
It was well directed, actually. Did she write it as well, I presume?
I don't know. I would have to have a look.
Okay, I assume she did.
Yeah, with these low budget projects, usually the case, isn't it? Yes, she did.
Cool. Okay, should we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
I'm
move
looking
on
forward
to
to
the
this
next
one.
Yes. The next one we went to see is one that may split opinion a bit more. And this was Hundreds of Beavers, directed by Mike Cheslick. And this one stars Ryland Brixton Cole Chews, West Tank, the village name, Olivia Graves, and Doug Manchesky. The synopsis is: in this silent, supernatural winter epic, a drunken Applejack salesman must go from zero to hero and become North America's greatest fur trapper to defeat hundreds of beavers. What did you three think of Hundreds of Beavers?
Yeah.
Go on, Pep.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a little bit of context behind this. We'd obviously seen the first film.
And then been to Flight Club.
We'd gone and played some darts, had a good few drinks, gearing up for the film at 8:30. And then somewhere in amongst that time from seeing the first film and then getting into the second film, Richie decides to tell us that, yeah, it's a black and white silent film.
That's not true. I told you that before we even went to see the first film.
Okay, mate.
And if I'm going to jump on this and add on to it, because this is even a poorer representation of what I did, because before we even set off or decided on the films, I went through all the films and I put links to everything in there, and none of you read any of it.
I did.
No, okay.
Did.
So yeah.
I knew it was.
But you didn't watch the trailer.
No, but that was out of choice. I went on Letterboxd, read the synopsis, and that was all I needed, and that intrigues me just from that.
And I believe your exact words, Joe, were "I'm easy with anything, boys."
You know what?
Before you start blaming me on this,
do you know? I'm just setting the context. I obviously I didn't realize it was a black and white silent film until on the day, you know, and I had a couple of beers. So yeah, we rocked up to the screening, which was a well-attended screening. And yeah, just started watching just a guy wandering around trying to capture a load of beavers.
Hundreds of them.
Just there's a black and white silent film. Now, I feel like I may have been a little bit harsh when I did the scoring in the cinema.
Okay.
Because, you know, I feel like there's got to be some sort of standard, and, you know, I appreciate that somebody's gone out and made the film and put a lot of effort into it. So fair enough, and congrats to the chap for doing that. But this film was definitely not for me. Absolutely not.
No. That's fair.
I think this film, I think we talked about it afterwards, would have been perfect as a 20-30 minute short. If it was a 20 minute or 30 minute short, it would have probably captivated me and I've been interested in it. And I'd have probably rated it maybe a 4.
So 20-30 minutes in, were you loving the film?
No.
Well, then it wouldn't have made a difference whether it was 20 or 30 minutes.
No, but it could have sped up a little bit. You could have, they could have got the whole concept of that film down into 30 minutes and done it as a short. And I think it would have been a bit more pacier. It would have been a bit more intriguing, and it would have been tied up in a bow within 30 minutes. Bish, bash, bosh, there you go. Or what he could have done is he could have done 3 different separate ones. So that would have intrigued me. So having maybe 20-30 minutes about Hundreds of Beavers, and then 20-30 minutes about something else, and 20-30 minutes about something else, you know, sort of like change it up a little bit and do 3 short stories, black and white, and, you know, just spending sort of nigh on 2 hours with a guy running around trying to capture beavers dressed up.
I agree about
it wasn't my sort of thing.
I think you're underrepresenting what it is, though. because it's a bit more. There's a bit more to it than that, isn't there? There's a lot of creativity in all the different ways that he is trying to capture the beavers, and not just how he's trying to capture the beavers, but why he's trying to capture the beavers, and and not just, he doesn't even start trying to capture beavers until like halfway through the film.
Well, see, that is true. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it just wasn't my cup of tea.
It starts off with him trying to just survive in the wilderness. So there's much more of a
yeah
than you're letting on.
Yeah, but it wasn't for me, boys. I'm sorry.
No, that's fair enough. I'm
yeah.
I have no problem with that.
That is the nature of a film like this, isn't it? I think it is going to be one of like two opinions. It's very, very unique. You don't often see a film like this. And again,
which is what we come to live for.
Exactly, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I'm actually really glad we picked it because it divided opinion. It's definitely not some. I know Woody said the same about I used to be funny, but this is definitely not something that you get into your local Odeon.
Definitely,
you're never ever going to see it unless you go to a film festival like this. And so, in that sense, great. That's why we're there. I did fall asleep a few times.
You did.
Yes, I did nod off a few times.
You did, but I want it maintained before you go on this tirade that you were laughing quite a lot.
Whoa! I wasn't going to go
while you were awake.
Yeah. No, I was going to say I definitely enjoyed it more than Pep did. I do agree with the length. I think it was too long. Whether it being half an hour would have made it a whole lot better, I'm not sure, but I do think it was too long. But I did laugh a lot. It was very, very funny, physical comedy, slapstick. It was done very well because it's not easy to get slapstick comedy right. It can be just,
especially when it's silent.
Especially when it's silent, it can be very dull, or just not funny at all. So credit where credit's due. It was very funny. I was laughing. It was very creative. Multiple different methods that he used to catch these beavers, and it was fun, but it did stretch my patience, and I was definitely ready for it to end, after maybe an hour. But yeah, I'm really glad we saw it. I'm glad we chose this, because it's not something I've ever seen before.
Okay, hopefully Woody's going to be my saving grace here.
No. Again, I'm more aligned with Pepster.
Yeah,
I appreciate the difficult nature of making it, and there's definitely some elements of it that were impressive, but it's just not my bag. I'm afraid it's not. I'm not a big slapstick fan. And do you know what? I didn't really have a problem with the silent. I mean, I would have liked a bit of dialogue, but the music was pretty good, and it was well used. It had to be, otherwise it would have been a mess. But I'm just not just not my cup of tea. Like Joe said, it's not a style of comedy that I particularly enjoy, and it's going for that old style of, like, I think we were talking about like Looney Tune style type, more cartoony. Just didn't work for me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, well, I think
I agree with what you two both said. It's far too long. Towards the end, I was really, I was ready to go.
Yeah, but I mean, it's only too long because it's not your thing to begin with, right?
But it's also
like if you're into it, then
a film like this with a story and the style doesn't need to be nearly 2 hours. It could have been 90 and wrapped up nicely, but
everything can be 90 minutes, but
it's repetitive. It was too repetitive, wasn't it? We just kept on doing the same thing over and over, and it's funny a few times. After a certain point,
it comes back to that being sort of the nature of the film and what it's trying to achieve in the like video game sort of way that it's trying to, the video game stuff that it's trying to do as well. That's all part of that. But I think you hit the nail on the head, really, when you sort of said that you're not really a fan of slapstick in general. I mean, if you're not a fan of slapstick, then
No.
there's absolutely no way that this film is going to be for you, because that's the whole it's the whole film. The whole film is that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I haven't made it painfully clear, I'm the only one that very much did enjoy this film.
Yeah. But I was going to say, the reaction from, I mean, it was a busy screening, wasn't it? We had to sit. We were actually split up because we couldn't get 4 seats together. It was a pretty
we wouldn't have gone to see
atmosphere.
it. We wouldn't have gone to see it if it hadn't have been very highly rated.
No, and we got a lovely introduction, didn't we, by Mr. LIFF, whatever he was called.
Mr. LIFF.
And it was his second time seeing it. I think he said he was looking forward to seeing it again.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe you're in the majority. I know you're in the minority on this podcast.
Wasn't it his third time watching it?
I think that was his third. Yeah.
Third, yeah.
So he'd watched it twice.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who
they did.
I didn't see this, but Pepster said that he then sat down and watched it again with us.
Yeah, that was so he was watching it for his third time, I think. He sat at the front.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was a lot of people enjoyed it. I mean, there was a chap behind me and Wood who was laughing all the way through it.
There was a lot of loud laughter.
Loud. Yeah.
And it is highly rated. There's a lot of. I've read some reviews on Letterboxd, and there's a lot of people who are exactly in your boat, Richie. Loved it.
Yeah. I really did love it, and the more I thought about it after, the more I loved it, and I'm honestly excited to watch it again. At this point, I found a lot of it so satisfying to watch. I loved the video game elements to it, like when he's drawing his map and he goes to each location and draws the location on the map, and it shows him going around this whole thing, checking on each beaver trap. It very much felt like watching. It very much felt like playing like a quest game. And for some reason, it was just so satisfying for me to watch in like this like semi-animated kind of form. And I just found all the beavers, the people in these like beaver suits so funny, and the way that every time they would die, it would just cut to them being empty beaver suits. It was just so funny to me every time that happened.
Apart from that beaver that we saw get chopped up and have its guts ripped out.
Yes, yeah, and that was great as well. There's so much detail to this thing that makes it work so much for me. And I loved the state on the shop kind of counter, constantly trying to spit his tobacco into a spittoon and creatively missing every time.
Yeah, he had a little bit of dialogue, didn't he?
Who did?
Ooh. That's all his dialogue.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you're very derisive of it, but for me, that's the beauty of the whole film. And the fact that it can capture obviously it didn't work for you boys, but the fact that it could capture my attention like that, by only using those kind of mutterings and its visuals, is just insanely impressive to me. It's such a bold thing to go for. I don't know how they could possibly have made this and thought, oh yeah, people will enjoy this. But I do. Crazy.
Yeah, it's a big swing, and it obviously did work for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the people laughing loudly, I was one of them, as Jack can attest.
Yeah,
sitting next to him, ruining the film for him, ruining his sleep.
Yeah, shut up.
How long did you doze off for?
No, it wasn't that. Well, it's hard to tell, isn't it? But
it was longer than you think. I think.
Was it actually okay? I don't know how long it was. Then.
I think there were a couple of times you did nod off as well.
It was more than once.
From where I was sitting, I would say it was enough for you to wake up and be completely disoriented and not really know anything that's going on. But unless you feel differently.
No.
I could imagine myself being in that position and being like, just waking up in a certain point and being like, what the fuck is going on?
No, that's fair. That was the case. each time I woke up, I was slightly more lost than I was before. So maybe watching it with a fresher head, and in the daytime when I don't know, maybe I'd enjoy it more. But
I don't know. It might be interesting to find that out, but I suspect maybe you might still feel similarly to these boys.
Yeah.
I wonder how much it might matter for if you are someone that sort of plays video games fairly regularly, because you boys don't.
No.
You're definitely the biggest gamer out of us.
Yeah, and so I have to imagine that those elements of the film are not really going to mean anything to you boys.
That's true.
So even if you did watch that again, because I don't know, those are the bits that kind of stick in my memory the most anyway.
Yeah, no, there's definitely stuff that you will have appreciated, like that we just wouldn't have really clicked with, or even noticed that was a reference to some certain,
Yeah,
would have just gone straight over our heads, whereas you were able to pick up on those, little touches.
Yeah, and there's definitely stuff like that where I don't know, stuff maybe went over my head, or there would have been parts of it that that maybe I was less interested in than others, but not to the point where I wasn't still laughing and having a good time throughout the whole thing. I don't think there was any part of it where I wasn't really laughing at everything that was happening. But yeah, I just had a blast watching it, and I genuinely can't wait to watch it again, if I'll ever be able to do that.
Oh yeah,
legally.
You can add it to that collection behind you.
I hope so. I hope it gets a physical release.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
That'd be awesome. So yeah, that's hundreds of beavers, I think, unless someone's got any more to say on that, but I suspect we've pretty much covered.
Are we rating these, by the way? I just realized we didn't really.
That's true. I didn't even notice that we hadn't done that. Yes, we are. Do you want to go back and do favorite scenes, or should we just do?
No, let's just.
No, just do rating. Yeah.
Okay, well,
we're not rated. We're not rated the first one then.
I'm saying let's go back and rate. I used to be funny.
I'm gonna give that. I'm gonna give that a 6.
Okay.
I'll go 7.5.
Yeah, I'll go with a 7.5. I reckon.
Yeah. I'll go 6.5 and just keep it a bit reserved for now. Possibly go up on a rewatch. Okay. Then what are we going to rate? Hundreds of Beavers. Please be kind.
5.5, 5.5.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
That's higher than I thought you'd go.
Oh man, you gave it a 3 though. That's more.
I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, so
yeah,
I say just above, just 2.5's average. I say it's just above that. Yeah,
I'll take that.
I will join you on that.
I'm going to go 3.5.
Well, okay. Jack, come on, bump it up a bit.
Well, I don't think it was better than I Used to Be Funny, and I only gave that 6. So I can't give it higher than a 6, and I can't give it.
You can if you want to. There's not that many strict rules to this.
It's a very strict system. No, 5.5. Yeah.
All right, fine, whatever. All right, well, 8.5 for me.
Oh,
it was great. I loved
Ricardo,
it.
crikey!
I'm looking forward to the Film Night Oscars.
Do not tell me that this film is going to be
it is a good
worthy of a Film Night Oscar.
I'd say it's up there for best film of the year for me.
I think we're gonna need quite a few meetings then. I think we're gonna have to go through some mediation on this. Crikey!
Pepster, don't forget
Well, no, I don't expect it to win film of the year, but on my personal list.
Okay.
Pepster, there's many categories. Don't forget for Film Night Oscars, and not all of them are positive ones.
Excuse me. Let's not have this.
So it may well walk away with the Film Night Oscar.
Well, yeah. I don't like this talk, boys.
No, we're just wetting the appetite for not far away now. Need to start thinking about these things,
Oh.
boys.
This seems anti-justice.
Anti-just.
Okay. So the next film we watched was not part of the festival, but it was Dream Scenario, and this was directed by Christopher Borgley, and it stars Nicolas Cage, Julianne Nicholson, Dylan Baker, Michael Cera, and Tim Meadows. The synopsis is: hapless family man Paul Matthews finds his life turned upside down when millions of strangers suddenly start seeing him in their dreams. But when his nighttime appearances take a nightmarish turn, Paul is forced to navigate his newfound stardom. What did you three think of Dream Scenario?
Well, this is a pick of a bunch for me out of everything we saw. It really impressed me at how much I actually enjoyed this. It was just amazing. It was brilliant. I was so into it, and I love the dark humor. And at the start, really funny at the start. Obviously, Nic Cage is doing Nic Cage things, and some of the dream scenarios in the beginning are quite funny, but some really good montage moments.
Really inventive.
Yeah, very much so. And it just takes this dark and sadistic turn. And I've not had that reaction in a cinema for a long time where I've been laughing out loud along, and all of a sudden it's just flips you the other way, and it keeps you completely invested in it. Yeah, it was incredibly well done. And I've got to say, the director, I'm definitely going to be trying to source some of his other material, because I was very, very impressed, and this will be up there in terms of best of the year for me. 100%. It was fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rave review. Anyone got anything to counter Woody with on that one?
Nope.
No, not at all.
No.
I'd have to agree. I mean, absolutely the best of the four we saw. I know it wasn't a LIFF film.
Disagree.
We have to make that. Yeah, okay. But we have to make it clear once again that this was not part of LIFF. But I'm really, really glad.
Absolutely clear.
We do. I'm really, really glad that we took this chance to see it, because could easily have, just not bothered. Because, we had quite a. It was 6:30, wasn't it? The final film that we saw. So
yes,
I think it was a 6:30 start, wasn't it? So we had a full day, and it just made sense to me that we may as well try and fit in another film. And I knew there was quite a few decent looking things out at the moment. Like, we had some interesting options, didn't we? We could have picked Anatomy of a Fall, could have picked Bottoms, could have picked How to Have Sex, which again is another indie film which is getting a lot of praise right now. Yeah. So we had some great options. So fair play to View, by the way, for having a great selection, because not a lot of these are on at the Odeon.
I'm kind of glad we didn't go with How to Have Sex, because it seems like it was going to be a fairly similar sort of idea to I Used to Be Funny, when I've had a look at it.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So I'm glad we got with something a bit different.
Yeah, but I completely concur with Woody. It was such a, I don't remember a film, as Woody said, that literally went from, I mean, we were laughing out loud, it was hilarious, proper belly laughs, and then half an hour later, it's a very strange feeling. I was feeling quite depressed, quite sad. I really felt sorry for him.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that was down to how good Nic Cage was. He's brilliant. He's having a bit of a kind of resurgence at the moment, isn't he? And not everything's as good as this, I must say, but he's picking a brilliant variety of roles. Played himself recently in that film with Pedro Pascal. What was that called?
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Renfield was interesting as well. And then this, and he's on a great run right now.
No, he does he still seems to be sticking to his usual foray of both good and bad performances in films.
Yeah.
Which is good that he's still in character like that.
Yeah, but it's great to see an actor just have fun with it. And Mandy was one in recent years as well that Woody and I saw. And this
You
was
fell asleep in that as well, Jack. I seem to remember.
I did fall asleep in that. I think, was there alcohol involved in that one as well? I can't remember.
yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, I love films like this that have quite a surreal kind of concept and just goes off and has fun with it. And it's not tied down by anything. It's just super original. Really well directed. I agree with Woody. I'm really excited to kind of see what else this guy does going forward. And yeah, it was brilliant. And I'm sure. Can we do a favorite scene for this one? Because there's so many great ones.
Well, go on then. Just say what your favorite scene is, Jack.
Well, I love the scene with where he goes back to this girl's apartment and she's had a very particular dream involving him, and she basically wants to play out this fantasy in real life, and it does not go as planned, and it's just hilarious. But yeah, like by the end, I was really quite depressed, and obviously it's commenting on a few things, cancel culture, like fame, and it's a really interesting film. But it didn't get carried away with those like meanings. It wasn't trying to shout at you and say, "This is my view on cancel culture." But it was slipped in there, just enough. And yeah, great.
I think I would say it rode the line pretty well of having this satire to it.
Yeah,
but for me, it didn't quite go into too much into the lecture sort of.
Not at all.
Sort of way as films that are trying to do similar sort of things to this can often fall into. Or I didn't really feel lectured at anyway.
No, not
much.
At all. No,
it maybe teetered a little, but yeah.
Yeah,
I think it rode that. I think it rode that line pretty well. I
think it rode it really well, and just so much fun watching it. Great characters. Yeah, I'm really glad we picked it, and I'm glad it was so well received by all. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was, like Wood says, the best film of the four. I think it. I just think from start to finish, I think Nic Cage, and I think you're right, he's had a mixture. But I think in this, I think he just performed so well. How a film can, I know a couple of you boys have touched on it, how a film can literally change from 1 minute you're laughing out loud to the next minute literally the whole room is silent. And pretty much for the rest of that film, that there was a turning point, and as soon as it turned a bit darker, there wasn't you could hear a pin drop in the room. It was, and that's a testament to the production, I think, of the film and to his performance. He was standout. He was the best in the film, but supported by a relatively strong cast as well.
Yeah, he really took over that character, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was great to see. But
he gave it.
You could really see the care.
Yeah, he wasn't just cashing in. He wasn't just rocking up, doing his lines and rocking off. You could tell that he put a lot of care and attention into creating the role and making it his. Yeah. So all credit to him for that. Because I think quite a lot
would have been a very different film maybe if it was someone else.
Definitely, and I think. Or if it was him that just didn't bother to put the attention and the care and the detail into it.
Sure,
But the thing is, like, he always does this, doesn't he? He always, even if the film is naff, like Renfield, you can't leave that cinema and say, well, do you know what? Nic Cage couldn't be bothered doing that one, could he?
He goes hard.
He sat that off. He
gives it everything, doesn't he?
He gives it everything he's got. And we talked about all these great films he's been in recently. Pig is another one. You get a chance to see Pig because, again, it's dark and it's weird, and he just goes for it, and it's just brilliant. I'm so glad we're living in this renaissance of his career and this resurgence, and he's approaching 60 years of age, and he's not slowing down, is he? And I'm all for it. I'm all for it, boys. I am.
Yeah. I suppose that's why he has that reputation of you know, in this film he's brilliant, in this film he's absolutely atrocious, and it's got to be down to the fact that he just goes hard on it no matter what it is, even if it's the absolute worst fucking script you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
He'll commit 100% to it.
Do you know how many films he's been in?
Oh, I bet it's a
A
lot.
I bet
lot.
it's 3 figures.
Go for
Okay.
I
it.
reckon.
133 films.
Ooh. I was going to
Yeah.
say about 120. So yeah, 133. Bloody
Wow.
hell! Wow.
Is that on Letterboxd, Joe?
He just loves
That's,
it, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's
He just
Letterboxd.
loves it.
He just loves it, yeah.
You know how it
And that's,
says,
and that's great to watch no matter what.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah, exactly.
because you know how it says now on Letterboxd a percentage of how many you've seen.
Oh, yeah.
I've only seen 6% of his work.
I've seen 0% apparently.
What?
Oh, well.
I know. And I've logged at least 3. I must have logged at least 3 of his films.
Not quite hit that 1% then. It must not.
Yeah, you
have,
don't even hit 1%.
Oh
not even
God,
at
I
1%.
forgot. I forgot
Yeah.
he wasn't in the second one, was he? But the character he voiced in the first Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Jack,
So we
I
can
just
do it.
edge you. I'm on 7%. I've seen
Oh,
10 of his 133 films.
Well,
I've only got
There's-
123 to go.
there's no way I've seen that many.
we could do a Cage-a-thon, couldn't we?
There's more actually about look at about
4%
and not logged. So there'll be more than that.
Mm.
Yeah.
I've got 4%. Six of 133 I've seen.
Ooh, tight though, isn't it? Tight, lads.
Yeah,
Oh, he was in Snowden. Was he not?
we should make it like a goal of ours for next year to watch every single one of his films.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of
I
rubbish
wouldn't
on
be
there
against
as
them.
well.
Sorry.
There's probably a lot of rubbish on there as well.
Oh god. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
famously, yes, there is.
Well, you know what? Yeah, you can never fault him. Well, you can in terms of some of his
It
performances, but
means-
you can't in terms of effort.
It would mean you'd have to watch The Flash because he has like a cameo in that.
Is that the new one?
Yeah,
Wow.
I watched that. I don't even remember that.
he has a cameo in it for like a joke, like 2
Probably
seconds.
asleep, Jack, weren't you?
He turns up as like
Probably.
as like a Superman from another universe or something. Do you not remember?
No, genuinely don't remember.
Okay. Did you fall asleep in that one as well?
For God's sake, I don't do this for every film.
For every Nic Cage film.
For
Oh
every
no, you
Nick
didn't do
Cage.
it. No, you didn't do it for Dream Scenario. I think you Hundreds of Beavers.
It would have been ironic if
think
I'd
we're all
fallen
agreed on
asleep
this
and
one.
started dreaming during it.
Yes, it would have been.
What do you think of
Especially
the
if you started
ending?
dreaming of him.
Because I do want to talk about that. Because it did go slightly.
I liked the ending.
Because it went. I know we talked about how it went into very kind of much more sad and sort of melancholy, which
Yeah, it
is
was-
very true.
It was
But then
very
it
sad
picked-
at the end. I would say
Yeah.
it was more
Mm.
stressful for the majority of the darker elements of the film.
It was. It was really stressful.
I was
Yeah.
so tense. I was really.
Mm.
I feeling myself tense. I think maybe because the aircon was on in.
Oh, it was
It was-
freezing, wasn't it?
Oh, it was very cold.
It was absolutely freezing in there.
Yeah.
So it was just adding to the kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we're already tensing because I'm just so cold. But yeah, it was.
It was just heartbreaking. Like
It was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
heartbreaking, and
that's-
that was.
Sorry.
I appreciated that. That was good because it didn't finish on a happy ever after ending, and quite a lot of
No.
these films can. Like you get and then it's happy ever after. So the fact that it didn't, I think it again just makes the film.
Yeah, I think it drives the point home
Mm.
of what it's trying to
Mm.
achieve.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Do you know what I also appreciated about this as well? There's no explanation as to why this happened, why this phenomenon.
Yeah.
There's no logic or rhyme or reason behind it. He just stops appearing in people's dreams. It all goes sour, and then it stops. Like there's no kind of scientist
Medical reason or anything.
Yeah, but there's no just scene of just massive exposition, just trying to explain it.
It's
It just
implied.
happened.
It's implied that there is, because they have that bit where they can like someone comes up with this technology to like utilize it. or
Yeah, but that was
manipulate it or
af-
something, don't they?
But that was after his. That was after his.
Yeah, exactly.
What's it
About
called?
his
Yeah, I know.
phenomenon had happened.
I know.
to
I'm
him.
just saying that it's sort of implied that there's some scientific.
Way to do
Yeah,
it.
but we don't. If that was handled, so that device for people who are wearing and we could just basically jump into your dream. That was really funny.
Yeah,
The way
it
they
was,
did that,
yeah.
like, you know, the commentary and the satire that we're going for there, I really enjoyed it. But they don't labour the point of going too big on the science. It's just
no.
Yeah,
people trying to cash in on his infamy, if you will.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I very much enjoyed when he went to that, whatever it was, media startup with Michael
Thoughts?
Cera, and they were trying to like basically be his kind of brand manager and get him all these deals with like Sprite and
That
stuff.
was so great. Yeah,
All
and
he
Michael
wanted to
Cera
do
was great.
publish a
Actually.
book.
yeah.
Yeah, Michael Cera was great.
Yeah, and trying to get him on Barack Obama, and then what's great. Another thing that was great about that is that later on, when people are losing interest in him, he starts desperately trying to grab for that. That's shit that had nothing to do with him, and he didn't want to sell out for in the first place.
Is Obama still available?
Yeah, it was
And
all
then-
put together. It was all put together really well.
Yeah, it was because then and then the only things available to him after a certain point was like Joe Rogan or
Well,
what's
yeah,
the-
because he was a controversial figure. They wanted
he's
to get
going
him
more
on the controversial far right type
yeah, really well done.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was the film of the trip, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but I definitely loved this one. It's definitely one of the two great ones of the trip. Great trip. Great trip full of great films. But yeah, I did love this one. And again, I would watch it again.
Yeah, I've rewatched this definitely.
Yeah. Does anyone else apart from Jack want to give a favorite scene of this one before we give it a rating?
I just quite enjoyed when he's in the lecture hall and people finally turn up again, because
that was great.
Obviously, he's doing these lectures on his intelligence. Intelligence.
Oh yeah.
And no one's turning up, and all of a sudden he's got a big crowd, and he's got this big he's got him in the palm of his hand, and he's loving it. He's just bouncing off each one of them, saying, "Oh, go on, tell us about your dream." And it just cuts to the dream, but with no voiceover. We just see it. Cuts back into the room. Everyone's laughing. He goes, "Yeah, right, now you next." And he's just loving it when he's just.
They were great.
Yeah, those little montages were brilliant. Yeah,
you can tell they had so much fun just coming up with crazy dreams.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely, and they were fun to watch.
Very fun.
Yeah,
very fun.
Pepster, you got one or?
No, I was going to say what Wood said. The conferences as well, like when he goes to meet Thoughts, and
I'll go with that.
That first meeting was very funny.
Yeah, I like that. Cool. What are we going to rate this one out of 10?
I'm going to go 8.5. I think.
Yeah, I think I'll say 8.5. Yeah,
I agree. 8.5 for me.
Okay, I'll hit it with an 8.
Wow, high scores all around.
Nice.
Yeah, very high scores. Great to see. Okay, now moving on from those high scores, the final film, final LIFF film that we went to see was a little film called #Manhole. Now, this one is directed by Kazuyoshi Kumakiri, and it stars Yuto Nakajima now and Kento Nagayama. The synopsis is Shunsuke Kawamura works for a real estate company. He is Christ, it's a long one. This he's usually first at first when it comes to sales.
Let's summarize. Just
come on then.
He falls down a fucking hole.
This is a synopsis.
To be fair,
bloke's getting married night before his wedding.
Yeah,
goes out and gets beeled. has
Surprise party,
copious
yeah.
amounts of alcohol, walking home, and he somehow managed to fall down a manhole.
Hashtag manhole.
Hashtag manhole.
Well, it was just a manhole. It wasn't a hashtag manhole.
Yeah, at that point, it wasn't a hashtag. He then uses his extra long battery phone
Careful.
with incredible battery life and signal and GPS and 5G.
And sturdiness.
Great.
Yeah. Took a lot of damage, didn't it?
Yeah. To open up his pecker and create hashtag manhole. End of
Okay.
synopsis.
Okay, some of that synopsis might be a little bit confusing to people that don't know the film, but
We should say that Pekka is a
essentially,
Japanese version of Twitter.
yeah. Well, it's not a Japanese version of Twitter.
Now X.
For Christ's sake.
Now X, please.
Now
It's
X,
a real-
now X.
Formerly Twitter. Formerly
Pekka,
Twitter.
Pekka now Y.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
No, it's not a Japanese version of Twitter. It was just a fake version of Twitter for the film.
Yeah, okay.
Well, so what's
Yeah,
on the
so
film?
I think essentially that was a fairly sound synopsis. So
Yeah.
yeah.
More sound than some of the things that happened in the film itself.
Okay,
It's
so
just
yeah,
madness, wasn't it?
so this is another controversial, but yes,
I feel like we're
go
probably
on
all
then,
in
Go on then,
agreement with it, though,
Pepster.
aren't we?
No, well, I don't know that. I don't know.
Oh, I mean,
in
come
some,
It's not going to be.
it's always,
It's not going
it's
to be
always.
split.
Oh, come on.
It's not going to be split like Hundreds of Beavers, is it? I mean,
No.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. How that gentleman fell down a manhole and
It
had.
well,
yeah, okay.
spoilers, but he didn't.
I know. I didn't want to spoil the film
Sorry,
for
I'm sorry.
anybody that wants to watch it.
Go on.
How his battery life at the end of his ordeal is still on like 90 odd % is like unbeknownst to me. The fact that he sort of can survive under there, and I mean, there was some moments where I thought, come on, just pull yourself together, man, and just get yourself out of there. And the fact was, the manhole cover was not on there. You know,
Yeah, but the ladder was broke.
the ladder was broke, Jack. The ladder was broken. He might have had a little bit of a twisted ankle or whatever, but I mean, come on.
How about a massive gash in his
I think it was
leg?
like impaled, wasn't it?
Oh, that's another thing. Yeah, so he got impaled by a massive gash, right? So what
Impaled
does he do?
by a gash.
He decides. He
There's a lot of gashes and peckers in this film, aren't there?
Oh dear.
So he's got an injury. He's got an injury, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
he tries to call his fiance. She doesn't answer because obviously she's getting an early night before the wedding the next day. So
Perfectly reasonable, Joe.
Perfectly reasonable. But who does he decide to call then? His ex-girlfriend. So he calls his ex-girlfriend up, and then for some reason he's chatting away to his ex-girlfriend all the way through the film. And she decides to say, "Oh well, I'm a nurse. I'll walk you through how to stitch your wound up."
Yes.
So she says, "Oh, have you got any like needle and thread or whatever?" Bearing in mind he's got his work bag because he's come from work. No, he's not any. He's not got any needle and thread. Oh no. He's got a stapler instead. So he says, will the stapler do? And she went, "Oh, it's not ideal, but we'll do it anyway."
It's all you've got.
Right, she did not say, "Oh, it's not ideal, but we'll do it."
I'm pretty
anyway.
sure she did. I'm pretty sure she said it's
She
not
said
ideal.
it's all we've got.
She said she just said that it'll have to do. She didn't say, "Oh, it's not ideal," as though it's like is the next best thing.
So and then he proceeds to staple his wound together. With and come on, let's be realistic now. If it's an office stapler, it's like one of those Poundland £1 staplers. I mean, those Poundland £1 staplers cannot even staple two pieces of paper together, let alone like that thickness of skin. I mean, not realistic at all. This film, absolutely.
Joe, have you ever tried to staple together a wound?
No, I haven't, and I don't intend to try and staple a wound.
Then you
together.
can't.
I think I can see a stapler.
Then you can't say whether
come on,
that would
here we
work
go.
or not.
Right.
Go on,
So-
Steve.
Oh my!
Here we
Has he
go.
actually got
Right.
one?
No, I've got a stapler here.
Joe,
Right.
don't do this.
No. There's. Do you think I'd staple something? No. That
Lights
stapler.
turning
Right,
into
that's,
jackets.
I mean, that's quite a good stapler. That. I mean, that's quite.
That's a
But
good
he-
stapler.
No, I mean that
Yeah, it looks
that does
pretty
the
good,
trick on 2-3 pieces of paper together.
What
I'm
brand
not
is that?
I don't know, but that would
not Poundland, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Would so Poundland staplers.
It wasn't
like,
sorry, where's this come from? It wasn't a Poundland
Yeah,
stapler.
who's to say it was
it
Poundland?
looked like it. Come on, it was.
You've just made that up, and then like, oh, now that's what it was in the film.
It was in a pencil case about that big. It was one of those quickly back to school sets. Stick them in. Absolutely
Stick
not
'em in.
realistic at all. It just wouldn't have happened. I'm telling you now, it would not have happened.
Joe, I have to say, not that I don't agree with you on this, but I can't believe this is what you're picking out from this film as your
all of it was shocking.
Peak example of unrealistic things that happened.
No, I just it was up from start to finish.
Well, I'll disagree with that because for me, the first 15, 20 were actually quite engrossing. I thought it was going down the route of essentially a bit of a not mystery, but like how's he going to get out essentially? And I wasn't sure. I thought the start before it descended into chaos was actually quite interesting, and I was engrossed, and I didn't know what was going to happen. When he was trying to figure out exactly where he was, it was quite interesting. And then yeah, at a certain point, as soon as he created his account on Pekka, it did get a bit too silly and ridiculous. And I didn't find it funny. That's the thing. If I'd found it at least funny, even in a bad way, I would have had more fun with it. I wasn't laughing. It just didn't make sense, a lot of it, and it was frustrating. Like how he got rid of that phone was just a joke. Literally blew himself up, and he was fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit of a shame because I was into it initially.
Wait, you weren't laughing at that village YouTuber that came to say?
Okay, he was funny. Yeah. Triple. What was it called? 3L or something.
3L.
Yeah, 3L. Yeah.
Now 4. Now 4.
Now 4.
Yeah, that was good. That was funny.
Yeah, he was all right. He was all right. But yeah, it just it did get silly. There's a lot of screaming, a lot of just annoying noises. And yeah, no, it definitely reached a point where I wasn't having fun anymore, but I was into it for the first 15, 20. So yeah, that's what I'll say.
Okay, Woody, thoughts?
I agree with JC9. Yeah, I know we've kind of bashed it there, but yeah, that first 20 minutes or so, I actually was wondering, I wonder how it's gonna play out, kind of thing. But then it just completely loses itself and just goes from one ridiculous thing to the next, and just laughable by the end. I think we were turning to each other and laughing at various points. And
there you go. It's funny.
Yeah, but not for the right reason. So you just.
Do you think it was trying to be funny? Do you think it was trying to be a bit?
This is where I'm a bit unsure.
I personally don't.
Yeah, I can definitely see that side of the argument.
Because it just wasn't funny. It felt like we were trying to be so clever and shocking and like, oh my god, type thing.
And it was trying to be.
We just praised the film there in Dream Scenario that has a big twist and turn, and it goes from one emotion to the next in a blink of an eye, and it just keeps you captivated. This did that. It started out well and just went completely turned and went stupid, and didn't have you engrossed and engaged in the same way that Dream Scenario did.
Yeah, but you were just saying
to do it.
Yeah, but you were just saying you were laughing at the absurdity and the stupidity of it. Do you not think that that's exactly what they were trying to get you to do? Specifically going so overboard with the stupidity and insanity of it to
no, because it wasn't.
Make you laugh like that?
It wasn't done in a funny way. It wasn't done in like a way of saying, "Oh, look how unbelievable this is." It felt like they were trying to be. It felt very straight and serious to me. It didn't feel that they were going for the.
I don't know. I feel like in some parts it did, and in some parts it felt like it was trying to be ridiculous. I never got that vibe, to be honest, at all.
I think what they wanted.
I definitely did.
I think they were genuinely trying to go for a bit of a, link, kind of linking all the plot points together and almost a bit of a thriller, like connect the dots and who was it that
yeah,
the dream?
I can definitely see that side of it.
It was trying to turn it into a bit of a thriller, wasn't it?
And I can see that may well be the case, and if it is, then yeah, it probably makes it a worse film. But if they are just because it just keeps going, you keep thinking it can't get any more ridiculous than this, and it keeps hitting another level of it, and because of that, it just made me think sometimes like, are they doing this on purpose? Is this actually supposed to be? And I have to say, for me, I was laughing and finding it funny, and whilst also being frustrated with it. So I was struggling so much to sort of figure this film out. Really. So I think my rating is probably going to be higher than yours, but I think it's going to be still unsure. Because I mean, by the end, it was just like I've been hit by a bomb of nonsense, but in such a high octane way. I genuinely can't say that I wasn't entertained throughout, even though it was just absolute nonsense.
Well, Emily, who actually went to watch this film at Leeds International Film Festival.
Who the hell's Emily?
She's posted on Letterboxd.
Ooh.
And she gave it a 1.5 star.
Are we doing a Letterboxd roast?
Well, no. I this just ties into what you were saying, because she said, I find it hard to give 1-star reviews to anything, but sadly, there was no part of this movie that grabbed me in any way. A tediously overly long movie that doesn't really know where it fits in. I wasn't sure whether this was a survival horror, comedy, or thriller with entirely pointless plot twists.
That's a good point. It didn't quite know what it wanted to be.
Emily. Yes.
I just don't see that as necessarily that bad.
I think you have to settle on something like
why is it like doing multiple things like that bad? Like that, you could say the exact same thing about a classic Edgar Wright film. You could say the exact same thing.
Yeah, but I guess if you're going to do it, you have to do it better than this.
Well, that's just yeah. You can say that easily, but that's just subjective.
You can have a film that's different parts, can't you? That has different genres within it, but I suppose there's got to be some sort of. Surely the fact that you find it difficult to weigh up is a negative in a way, because it's
which is why my rating is going to be leaning more towards the negative.
Yeah. Because the filmmaker hasn't achieved the job of actually being able to show the audience what it wants to portray.
That's true. Yeah, I agree with that to a certain extent, but at the same time, there are plenty of films where filmmakers are just doing something that's maybe over my head, and so I might say the same thing about one of those films, but they're actually just sort of going for something that is just sort of a bit over me, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying that this film is doing that. I'm just saying that in terms of that explanation, you could sort of say that. But yeah, so I feel like I've been on the defense a lot on this episode, and I don't feel a huge need to be on the defense for this film. I don't think it's a great, amazing film or anything. I'm just saying that I was entertained by whatever it was doing.
That's fair. Yeah, that is fair. I definitely
and I think it will work. It will work as a film that. Okay, so we were all together watching it together. But if we were not in a cinema setting and we were just watching it in one of our homes all together with a few beers, I think this film would work on an enjoyable level on that,
Yeah. Well, I was going to say,
like, so bad it's good type of thing.
Possibly, yeah. And I was going to say, even without a few beers, like just the fact that we were together, and you're right. Like towards the end, I kept looking across at you and Woody, and like,
yeah,
that's always fun when you're like sharing that kind of ridiculousness with like. So yeah,
I think there's something to be said about that.
I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much, and that's not me saying I really enjoyed it, but I definitely enjoyed it more because we were together in the cinema. Had I stuck this on now, I'd probably give it even less than what I'm going to give it.
Yeah. There's certain films that are very bad, but so when you watch them, it's just an absolute drag and so boring. But then there's some that you can laugh at and have a good time watching. And for me, this one falls into that category.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I felt the length, to be fair.
If I think it's when we watched Crap, Jack, this one isn't an example that will resonate with you too.
Yeah.
But that one, I don't know. You might have actually enjoyed that more than me, but for
I
that
did,
one,
but, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess maybe could you apply how you felt about that one to this? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Because for me,
I don't know.
That one was just absolutely excruciating to watch, and I was pissed off with it by the end, and just irritated. But I could definitely, again, I could see it as one that maybe a few friends could get together and get very drunk and have a big bowl of sauerkraut in front of them, and and have a great time watching. I can definitely see it as something like that, even though I'd rather take my own eyes out than watch it again.
Yeah, there's definitely a place for films that are ridiculous and stupid, don't make sense, but they're fun and you can watch them with mates. Yeah, I get that, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's because there was no alcohol involved, but I just didn't enjoy it as much as you.
Yeah,
but I see where you're coming from.
I definitely understand that. I'm just so
the ending. Oh
unsure
God,
on
the very
one.
end. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah. What was the name of the chap that?
I don't know.
Prince what was it?
Yeah, what was he saying as well? Something about justice.
Something about justice. Yeah, all that stuff was so bad. I don't, but it was funny for me and fun. So it was like half fun and half irritating. I'm so torn on this one. Yeah.
It definitely had moments when I was enjoying it and like looking at you guys and just being like, what the fuck?
But I agree. In the beginning, I was into it, and I was thinking, oh, is it a bit 127 hoursy?
That is a great example. That's what I wanted this to carry on being.
You didn't even like that film, did you, Jack?
I did. Oh, this is a running joke. This.
No, you didn't.
You always say this. You don't allow me to like that film.
That's true. But I remember. I remember when you actually watched it. I said, "Did you like it?" And you're like, "No."
Did I? Oh,
I swear.
I don't remember. But no, okay. What we always argue about is the fact that I was the one that introduced you to it. In terms of I told you about it, and you claimed that you.
I don't think that's true.
Right.
Anyway.
But that is actually good. That's a good point. That's why I wanted this to carry on being. Like, I thought it was just going to stay with him in the manhole, and just be literally him trying to get out, and that would be the interesting.
Yeah, at the start, I was getting into it, and I was actually feeling like, oh, this is actually kind of surprisingly realistic. Like at the beginning, because when you first think of this, you think, okay, he's going to get into this manhole, and you just think to yourself, okay, what stupid thing are they going to have to do for him to not be able to just call someone? But actually, it made quite a bit of sense. It was very late, so no one was answering their phones. Joe, you were kind of jokingly saying, "Oh, he tried calling his fiance, but she didn't answer, so he just called his ex-girlfriend." But that isn't really what happened. There was actually a long process of him phoning a bunch of people.
He was trying.
It was still a little bit like, okay, no one's picking up, but it was like realistic enough for me to be like, yeah, okay, I can get on board with this.
Yeah. It was annoying when he threw his phone up to get a...
Yeah, that was insane. That was the first inkling of it. I was like, I don't know. That's
record a video and throw my phone away.
He threw it up, and he managed to get clear footage of details of where he was. I was like, I don't know if you've ever thrown one of those cameras before, but someone just like put on the tweet of the fucking JPEG he'd uploaded to Pecker of the JPEG that he put up to pecker and just like, oh, I've enhanced it, and then it was a crystal clear image of a fucking
What
like
it
almost
said.
just a completely different
Yeah.
image, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then at that point, I was like, okay, this is fucking dumb. And then it just kept getting more and more, and I started getting into it again. So yeah.
3L was the star.
Yes.
And he
4L.
doesn't even get a credit.
4L. Does he
Did he
not?
not?
Oh.
No.
Yeah,
Does
only
he
three
not,
people.
not on
credited,
Letterboxd.
He was probably just the fucking guy in charge of the light thing or something. Just got him to do it.
I think we can just leave on Caleb FJX's comment here. The true hero is that man's phone's battery.
Yes, that's Caleb.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True. Very true. Okay. What are we going to rate #manhole out of 10?
Do you actually think this conversation has made me dislike it even more?
No.
Why's that?
Because it was. I didn't think it was trying to be funny at all. I think it was just inherently bad.
Okay.
So I'm thinking 3.5, 4.
Well, none of that stuff I was saying about getting friends together and like getting drunk and watching it didn't have any.
It might have done, but we can only judge it on how we experienced it. And, we didn't do that, didn't we? So
yeah, true. Okay.
We've got to go off how our viewing experience.
Mm.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Well, I was having a good time with you lads in the cinema watching it.
Yeah,
So.
good. Of course we did. Look, I had a great time. I had a great time every film we watched. And it's not. It wasn't. That's not the issue here.
No, I know what you're saying.
Maybe we would have loved it if we'd been a few rows further back. We were very close.
Yeah, that was the problem.
What we'd have seen this at the same time we'd have seen Hundreds of Beavers. Now that is a question, isn't it? I mean, if we'd have seen that when we had a few libations and we were slightly lubricated, it might be.
Maybe
we might have been having a different conversation right now. We might be
That's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, my rating, I'll give it a 4.
Oh, that's not that bad. I thought you were going to go.
Go on then. Oh no, 3.5.
Oh,
you talked you into giving it worse.
Yeah. Cheers for that. Yeah.
I'm gonna go slightly higher than that. I'm gonna say 5.
Oh, fucking hell, Jack, you're going higher than me.
I'm
gonna
go higher than you. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because
I can get on board with these ratings, boys.
Just because, I enjoyed it slightly more than Hundreds of Beavers.
That is mental. My Christ.
He's
Okay,
well, God.
I mean, I was thinking of giving it 4.5, but now that Jack's giving it 5, Christ. No idea. I'll stick with 4.5.
Come on. How's this happen?
Jack, you look stupid now, don't you? Go on, change it, son. You don't believe it. Come on.
No. Stick with it, Jack. Stick with it. Stick with your guns. You didn't change Hundreds of Beavers for me, so.
Yeah, no, I'll stick with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all our LIFF films. And well, we may not have enjoyed all the films. Although, for me, they were all pretty good. No absolute like painful ones for me personally. I know there was for you boys, but
it was. I'm glad.
I'm glad of the ones that we chose. I can live with #manhole being the worst thing that we saw. There's definitely been much worse that we've seen over the years.
Yeah,
I think it was a great couple of days, and I love the tradition.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait. We'll do it every year until the day we die. And do I hope that next year is a stronger year? Yeah, I do. But it was a great eclectic, diverse range of films, and that's what this is all about. So
I think for me, it's definitely been the strongest year, but I think that's probably because. Well, having said that, I saw 4 in 2020. I think
COVID was stronger, even though it was online, wasn't it? Yeah.
No.
Was it not? Well, what?
No. I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it's as strong as that.
So you think? Sorry, you're saying 2020 was better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Right.
That was a bit confusing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's what I thought was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've had stronger years, Richie, haven't we? I can think of at least 2 years that have been better than this one.
It's hard to say because I think for most of the years we've seen worse films and better films in the same time.
Yeah, there's been like one standout.
Yeah.
Like
and then,
System Crasher, Hope.
Yes. But then the others have been, although the Absolute Denial was the same time as Hope, wasn't it?
Absolute Denial, yeah.
That was a good year. So yeah.
Actually, yeah, maybe 2020. I'm just looking now. Yeah, maybe 2020 was better actually, because we can't.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
What else was that year then? What else was that year?
Well, it was Anne at 13,000 feet.
Yeah, and I saw a really good one called Sun Children. That was brilliant.
Oh, and we had the Dutch
Columnist.
one.
Yeah,
Columnist. Yeah,
Columnist. I wouldn't say that one was as good as
it wasn't.
The best of this year.
Richie, do you want to do you want to see the audience? Because isn't that not out now?
Oh, yeah.
What we all rated. So, like the top.
They said on Sunday that they would announce
live.
Yeah.
How excited!
Wait, well,
can we have a look?
Go on LIFF's website.
Be there now.
Well, it said it would be announced on the last day, which was Sunday, yesterday.
All right. They're not going to send me an email about it, fucking bastards. Yeah.
Have a quick check now on the website.
Oh, good thinking, Pepster, on that.
Yeah, I think it's on there.
It might be. Will it be a bit early?
Might be. If it's not there
on
now,
their Facebook page. Yeah.
Oh,
have you got it?
Oh,
yeah. It is on their website. I just did it through the Facebook page.
What was the number one audience award? What was the?
So
probably one we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've done top 20 fiction features.
Christ.
Top 10 documentary features and top 10 retrospective features.
Right. Well, we want the first one.
Were any of ours features, in the top? Yeah.
Number one, Goodbye Julia.
Right. As in, is that number one? As in, that's the best, or that's
number one? Yeah, I'm assuming that's the best.
Goodbye Julia.
Yeah, top. Yeah, number one, top one. Let's see if there's any.
Did any of the ones we saw get in the top 20?
No.
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 Okay. Were there any?
How to Have Sex was number 6.
Okay. I didn't even know that was in the festival.
Number 2 was Poor Things.
Oh yeah, that was on the
number 3. Udo.
Number 2 was Poor Things. Did you say?
Number 2 was Poor Things.
So that's
Yorgos Lanthimos. That's a good sign.
Oh, right, yeah.
Well,
is it a good sign? Because the last one he did got an Oscar, but
no, but I trust the LIFF audience more than I trust the Academy.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other interesting ones of note in there, Pepster?
Where did that one with Paul Mescal come? What was that called?
What was that called?
I can't remember.
It wasn't Autonomy of a Fall, was it?
No.
Where did that come?
That came number 11. The Monk and the Gun.
I wanted to see that one.
No.
The Monk and the Gun.
That was 5.
Oh, is it All of Us Strangers? All of Us?
Oh, All of Us Strangers, number 8.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, but the ones that we saw, boys, didn't make it into the top 20.
Nada.
That's
okay,
fine.
well.
We've given a voice to those films.
Yeah. Good point, Jack. I think that's important. Okay. Have we finished then on everything we have to say about that?
I think we have, yeah. It was an excellent weekend, and we didn't congratulate Woody for winning the Flight Club.
Yes. Congratulations.
Congrats, Woody.
Yeah, thanks.
Who won the Crazy Golf?
Oh my word!
Oh,
that's prime fodder for a Pep rant. But
terrible.
No, it's not even. Nah, not even worth the energy.
Actually, no, I don't want to give them airtime. I don't want to promote.
It was just
we're not saying what the company is.
But do we know who won?
No, actually, I don't think I
think we didn't even bother check.
I think our enthusiasm was just drained.
It really did. It really was drained by that point, wasn't it? Which there was a real shame. But the rest of the couple of days was an absolute blast.
Was
Here.
yeah, and thanks
It
for
was
hosting. I know we told you on the
Yes,
message.
thank you.
Thank you, boys, for coming.
Thank you.
Yourself and
joining
Fliss,
us.
excellent hosts. Loved it.
Yep.
Yeah. But all right. Unless unless there's any more, then I guess we can just move on to say thank you for listening and watching. Please subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that business. And unless anybody has anything else they'd like to say, then I guess I'll say it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.